Okay, we are day 2. Well, I think it's the second. No, it's actually day after the other day. So 2 days ago we tried to regenerate it. It's got into regen mode, a little bit more steam than anything else. Cat's been removed and cleaned. We're just going to keep an eye on the temperatures. I'm going to go inside and do this. So mostly steam, where it's been removed and cleaned, the DPF. Right, just quickly get in there. So this one's done, about 127,000, nearly 128. It's a little bit hot, Hopefully it comes down. So there's a certain amount of temperature that will take, but we still have to put a DPF pressure sensor on this one. There's got to be a reason why it's not regenning. Can't be just too many short journeys. So hopefully we'll keep it on the computer for a few minutes. There we go. Excuse the lack of preparation. Oh, that's getting a bit too hot now. Probably it might stop it. It did the other day, so I don't know why the temperature is going that high. That is very hot. But the smoke has stopped now. There's the mirror, you can see. There you go. So we might be more or less there. Hopefully the temperature will start coming down a bit. We don't like revving them up this high for diesels. Obviously when these faults come, I mean, normally it's because the turbo's gone on a diesel, but I don't think the turbo's got a problem. We removed all the pipe work and, you know, span it felt okay. So there's no way I could fail the turbo. I think it's just a matter of obviously when it gets a forced regeneration, the engine over fuels the car to force the regen. On a newer car, that's why you've got your AdBlue. It's a separate thing, so the AdBlue's injected in. Perfect burn has got a bit of moisture in. Whenever we were taught at college, perfect combustion has a bit of moisture in, so the AdBlue, I suppose, you know, being ammonia based, that's, you know, what happens when ammonia is put on a wall. It creates saltpeter, which is explosive. So just it's introducing another element to get that burn nice and hot. But obviously it injects it straight into the exhaust system, whereas the older systems work more on the injectors over fueling the engine, creating more a higher temperature in the exhaust to burn the excessive soot. There we go. I think that's right. Don't hold me to it. Right, so it's saying 31% now, which is good. It's a third of the way through. I'll just notice actually. Okay, so we might not have to do a full 100% regen on this one because it is clean now, and I can't see the point of just revving up the engine. I know it wants to do its cycle, but I think most of it's gone. The best sort of cycling is when you're actually driving it on the motorway, under the right conditions. That is the perfect sort of, you know, regen to do. This is a forced regen, which is not always the best thing to do because you're in a stationary position. Most regens you can do on your own, as long as you haven't got an issue, and the car will go into regen mode, so no codes, and it's more preventative. You just want to put it in third or fourth gear, over 2,500 revs. Yeah. So it's not about thrashing the car, it's about putting the car into a mode that it recognises. So 2,500 revs, must stay over that for a period of between 10 and 20 minutes. Third or fourth gear, nice steady pace, not thrashing or, you know, damaging your engine. You don't want to do that. You know, when when these things first came out, everybody was trying to give them a good old beat down the road and thrash them. No need. The car's computers will know what you're doing and automatically should go into that mode. As long as there's not a problem with the vehicle, say a faulty sensor or things like that, the car should do it itself. There you go. Right, 50% of the way, I think we're more or less there. I'm just going to get outside and check the smoke, and then I'll probably it's ticking down quite quick, but let's go out. A little bit of smoke there because obviously the extra heat. You smell it, and that is now as clean as you can get. I mean, that's perfect. Like I say, I don't think there's any reason to do the full clean, but we'll let it, well, we're not far off it, to be honest. We'll let it do its natural full cycle. That way it goes onto the computer's log that this is when it was last regened as a full cycle, and it will store it. So if there's any issues in the coming weeks, we can look to see if it has been regenning itself. Like I say, we've just got a pressure sensor on order. Whenever you do a clean or a replacement on a DPF, good idea just to get that DPF pressure sensor replaced. Sometimes they are expensive, but I mean most of the time then they're within 50 to 80 pounds. Sometimes, like I say, I think I did one on a Honda, that was £300, but you know, sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and do it. But this one is regenning nicely. It's actually a little bit smelly under the bonnet, but you know, has run away, this one. So there was loads of oil. Runaway basically means it's self-fueling on its own oil, and that's purely because the oil level got to a level where it was the return oil from the turbo wasn't going anywhere, so it was being forced through the turbo. I don't think it's done any damage to the turbo seal. I think it's just that the pressure built up, and it's basically like you're forcing it through the turbo. It had no other place to go. So like I say, if we start replacing turbos and DPFs and all this on this age vehicle, it's just not really practical. We'll do the first stage, new engine oil, get it to the right level, regen it, replace the pressure sensor. Hopefully we caught it. There was no glow plugs working on this, so we've replaced all 4 glow plugs. I think that, you know, this is a bit long now, but I'm taking you through the whole process, even though it's, you know, literally it's a bit sitting and waiting. I'm just explaining what's happening. Hopefully, see, we've got a glow plug light flashing there, but there's no codes, so I'm presuming it's something to do with the DPF regeneration. That being, you know, but I'm going to check the rest of the car over for codes and see if there's anything. But normally, if that's flashing, get it looked at. There's obviously an issue. This customer just ignored all the lights and carried on driving it, but you know, ladies, don't ignore the lights, please. Okay, 100%. That should start cooling down now. There you go. Just coming off the revs. Excellent. Right, particulate filter pressure sensor, high differential pressure. So we're going to change that sensor anyway. I just thought we'd do a clean up, make sure everything's good, and then we'll carry on to the next stage. You should really change that sensor anyway, all right? But we're going to change it and get it done. That glow plug light has stopped flashing, so hopefully everything should be good now. We'll give it a little road test before we give it to the customer, and obviously a new pressure sensor, and then everything should be hunky-dory.